Right, good day, grade 12s. In the you covered 11, where the emphasis at that stage was on the ledger account, in particular drawing up the asset disposal account, and then you also completed the note for the financial statements. In grade 12, you asked to analyze and interpret the fixed assets. Now, you can't do that if you don't understand the grade 11 work. So I'm going to take you through a quick lesson where we're going to do a revision. Now, I'm working out of the New Era grade 12 book. Please, if you've got a grade 12 book that's got a different cover, don't worry about it. You'll still have this exactly the same module in the new book. Now, I'm going to be working with 7.1. Now, before we get started, I would like you all to just freeze the frame and draw up a copy of what I've got in front of you there. You don't have to make it perfect, just draw up and get the headings as they are, and then we will carry on. Now, this worksheet is just put here to help you with the completion of the asset disposal. So I want you now, put the textbook in front of you, and I want you to look for the information, and I want you to fill up all of these columns and find out the correct figure. We are going to be doing a sale of a vehicle, and so I want you to look for the information for that. When you've got to calculate the depreciation for the year, I suggest you please use this first column over here where it says calculation of depreciation and the sold asset. Now, what the information that you are given over here is that you, at the end of the financial year, the 28th of February, we've got some list of balances. I just want you to focus on vehicles now. So the vehicles is 390 and the accumulated depreciation is 108,000. And then you've got adjustment number 3 where it says a vehicle was sold on the 31st of December. Just take note of the date, but no entry's been put through. So you've got to do the entries. And there's the details of the asset that you sold. So I'm going to switch off now, and I would like you to find the figures for here to fill in on the chart, and then we will go on with the ledger account. Right, now let's check what you did. You were given in adjustment number 3 that the cost price was 90,000. So that's the first step that you have to identify is what the cost price. Secondly, you need to identify how much this particular asset has already been depreciated to the beginning of the year, and they gave you that figure of 36,000. Now your financial year ends on the 28th of February, but you sold this asset on the 31st of December. So you've got to calculate another 10 months depreciation. There's the financial year that we're working with, 1st of March to the 28th of February, and we sold it on the 31st of December, so we've had it for 10 months. So your depreciation will be 90,000 times 20%. You were given that on cost, and it was for 10 months, so the extra depreciation is 15,000. Make sure that you calculated 10 months there, please. If you didn't, go over again why you got it wrong. So the depreciation for the year for the extra 10 months is 15,000. That therefore gives you the total depreciation, which is the answer to number 36, the 36 plus the 15. All the depreciation up to date is 51,000. They then ask you what the book value or the carrying value is on the day in which you sold. Now, book value or carrying value is a calculated figure. The original cost minus the 51,000, so it's worth 39,000. The selling price was given to you at 51,750, and because you sold it for more than the book value, you've made a profit of 12,750. Now, as I said, this chart is not something I want you to waste time drawing up in an exam, but it does help you to streamline your thoughts. Now, once you've got these figures over here, you can now go and put these into your ledger accounts. So what I would like you to do is to draw up ledger accounts for what they ask you to draw up. Just do rough accounts if you don't have the New Era answer book. For those of you who do have New Era, it's just, remember, just turn to task 7.1 and you can do it in your answer book. The rest, just do it in rough. And I want you to draw up, as they ask you, a vehicles account, an accumulated depreciation on vehicles, the asset disposal, and the depreciation account. And we're just concentrating on the ledger first of all. Right, once you've drawn up those ledger accounts, as I said, I wanted you to put the entries in. So if you haven't yet, again, freeze and just do the entries first. Now in your vehicles account, you were given an opening balance of 390,000. So that should be no problem to you all knowing that it goes onto the debit side. You're selling an asset. So please take note, your details is asset disposal, and the cost price, because the vehicles is the cost price account, was 90,000. Then going on with your accumulated depreciation account. Your accumulated depreciation account, you've got 108,000 balance, which was given to you. Now that includes the 36,000 that was already given to you at the beginning of the year. This is the opening balance on all your vehicles at the beginning of the year, which includes the 36,000 on the asset you're selling. You are now bringing in the extra depreciation of 15,000. We calculated that for 10 months. So you credit the accumulated because you're adding on, and double entry for that, you will debit your depreciation account. Right, now we have to transfer out of here all the depreciation on the asset we sold, which was the figure that we already worked out. The total depreciation on the asset was the 51,000, 36 plus the 15. And so that 51,000 has to come out of, so you're going to minus, you're going to debit the accumulated depreciation account. And then lastly, you can go into the asset disposal account, and we can put in those two entries there. The vehicle at 90,000 on the debit side to complete the double entry, and the accumulated depreciation of 51,000. At that stage, if you look at this asset disposal, the 90,000 minus the 51,000 gives you the book value of 39,000, which we already worked out on the chart, but you can double check yourself at that stage. Right, to complete the asset disposal account, from our chart we had to bring in the sale, and we sold it on credit, so the double entry is debtors control. Now you'll have to debit the debtor because he owes you money, so therefore I'm going to credit the asset disposal account. And lastly, this being a temporary account, it has to balance out, it has to be closed off. So you can add up the two sides. The difference of 12,750 is the profit that you made, and remember that is exactly the same figure as you calculated on the sheet. As I said to you, the sheet was just put there to help you. And so at that point, your asset disposal account is now complete. Right, now because you were asked to do the ledger accounts, you have to carry on, because in your vehicles account, you've got more vehicles. You had 390, you've sold 90, and so if you balance this account, you've still got 300,000. And as we are then working towards the end of the financial year, we have to depreciate this 300,000 as well. Now that 300,000 is going to go, it's the old asset. Remember, on this table I'd said to you, it just helps you to work with your thoughts over there. That was the asset we sold. And then our old asset, the old one that we're still keeping, is 300,000. We've had it for the whole year, so it's times 20%, is another 60,000. And that 60,000 you also need to bring into your books. So your accumulated depreciation, you will add on, there's more depreciation, and your depreciation account you will debit. Just watch your double entries, please. It must be where the double entry is. I know this accumulated depreciation on vehicles is a long name, so it is acceptable to do some type of abbreviation, but don't go and do one letters, ADV, for example. You can fit in a lot more in the line that you're given. And that's the ledger accounts. We would obviously just have to balance out the two balance sheet accounts, and your depreciation account would get closed off to your profit and loss account. Now that's a revision on ledger accounts, which I would like you now to practice. Go on with further exercises in your book, practicing the ledger accounts, and then in the next lesson I'm going to do the fixed asset note with you.